Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Erin Matt's our guest. Erin is the executive director, kind of the new executive director. I think she's been on the job, say, since March. And we're going to be talking about the United Way of the Valley and Greater Utica, what they're up to, what they're going to be doing in the future. They've got a big day upcoming, in fact, an action day. We'll talk to her about that. And of course, Saranac Thursday, that's a big event that goes on and benefits the United Way. But before we do any of that, we're going to welcome Erin. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Saranac Thursday is a big event, isn't it, for the United Way?
It is. That is a long-standing partnership, and we've been lucky so far, fingers crossed for the rest of the year, for good weather. I know last year was a challenge. So we're hoping for sun on every Thursday from here on out.
Yeah. It's hard to believe. I was talking to somebody the other day. They'd never been down for Saranac Thursday. It packs it in, and the United Way is a beneficiary.
That's right. And I would encourage everyone who has some free time on Thursday early evenings to head on down. It's really a great time for just community building. Get to know your neighbors and give back to a great cause. And
you, the United Way, partners up with other organizations, do they not, to serve the beers down there?
We do. So we actually have volunteers that come and stand at the beer trucks and actually serve those who are coming to participate in the live music and activities. So it's really a great kind of intersection for us in terms of volunteers and members of the community.
As long as we're talking about beer trucks, we ought to mention too, the United Way benefits from the Boilermaker, and there's a beer truck out in the back parking lot. Have you ever seen that? I mean, you're a part of the Matt family, so maybe you've seen it.
I've seen it a couple times.
Yeah.
I've been a runner in the past too,
okay.
So I've also benefited from that beer truck after that long run. But
crazy to see, isn't it? I mean, all those people back there.
Yeah, it is.
And the United Way gets a benefit there too because of the pasta dinner.
That's right. So the Boilermaker and Saranac Thursdays are a really big piece of the money that we raise every year to give back to the community. Without those, you know, it would be a steep climb. So we're grateful for those.
Was I correct? March is when you came on the job?
Yes, March 21st.
What were you doing before this?
Interesting that you ask. I was actually with Twitter most recently for about 4.5 years. Background in sales and marketing, and I was really working out of the city, so I was traveling quite a bit.
New York City?
Yes, that's right.
The Twitter and United Way, how do you relate those two things?
You know what, I think that my experience in sales and marketing, working for a tech company that was really scrappy to start, I think there's a lot of parallels there. Fundraising, if you think about it, for a nonprofit is bringing in revenue, just like sales is for a for-profit company. So I think there's parallels there. In terms of the startup environment, I don't think that's unlike most nonprofits. So I would say the culture that I came from is relevant. And I think those two things combined are really why the board felt that this could be a really good fit.
The United Way was on, for many, many years, was on Genesee Street. That's where their headquarters was, but you're not on Genesee Street anymore.
No, we're not. And again, you know, to mention a partner that we're really grateful for, we are in the Utica National Building downtown. So we, you know, are so grateful for that space. That's an in-kind donation from Utica National, and we've had a long-standing partnership with them. So
how big is the United Way in terms of people? How many people do you have in that building?
16 total. So.
And obviously it's a volunteer-driven organization.
It is, and so much of our history is rooted in that. In terms of local volunteers that we engage, you mentioned the Day of Action coming up, but that's a great example of, you know, people really committing to an organization to give back to the community. Let's
talk about the Day of Action. It changes every year, does it not?
It does, although, you know, I know a little bit about the past couple of years, but before that, probably too far before my time, but we're really looking forward to it in terms of the impact that those volunteers are able to make. And just really, again, an opportunity to get people together to really build community.
Is my recollection correct that this year you're going to be doing lunches, packing lunches?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And what are those lunches that you're going to, and in fact, I saw somewhere that you're going to pack 30,000 lunches?
30,000 lunches, which is really an incredible feat, if you ask me.
Yes.
I pack 2 lunches on some days of the week for my children, and
Yeah.
that's hard enough. So yeah, 30,000 lunches will be packed.
And where's those lunches going?
They will stay locally, and they will be distributed to families that could be your neighbors. So.
And the people that are going to be doing these 30,000 lunches, where are they going to do it?
We will actually be in Herkimer County at the Y. We're really grateful again for that space, to use their space to actually coordinate not only all the food, but the volunteers. You know, obviously that's going to be a really big group that day, so we're grateful
Is it
for that.
one organization that's providing the volunteers to pack those lunches, or is it a bunch?
Coming from lots of different. So again, when I talked about building community, it's a really great opportunity to have people come together from different backgrounds, from different organizations, to join us to really meet the needs of that one cause.
Is it my impression correct or not that when I was a young man, it seemed like the United Way, they took something out of your paycheck and then it went to a couple of organizations to fund them, but now it seems like it's more of a social activities like these lunches.
Yeah, you know, I would think that it has evolved, certainly. There's both aspects of it. The United Way really created the notion of what we call a workplace campaign, so allowing employees to donate money from their paycheck, which makes it really easy. So it makes it easy for employees, it makes it easy for employers to offer a way for their folks to get engaged and to give back to the community. What's changed is that, you know, over the years, workplaces have changed. So right now, that's just one way that we do our fundraising and bring in money. You know, obviously we have revenue coming in from a couple of different sources, but that continues to be the primary source.
Back when I worked for GE long time ago, they did that. They took it out of your paycheck. You could have a very little, you could have a lot, whatever you wanted to do. And I remember GE had some kind of an incentive. I can't remember what it was, but if you signed up for United Way, there was an incentive for you from the company. Sure,
and we have lots of companies that we still partner with that do that. Either they match funds, or let's say if you donate a certain amount, you get to wear jeans to work for the day. You know, I remember actually my first job out of college in Boston, I gave to the United Way. They ran a workplace campaign. And the great thing about giving your money directly from your paycheck is that it's a little bit easier to part with it in a way. But I think on the flip side, you know, one thing that we do really well is work with the partner agencies in our community who need the most. And make sure that that money is really going to fund those programs.
And we come back, we'll talk about some of those partner agencies. Erin Matt's our guest. She's the Executive Director of the United Way. Short break, right back.